Moving on to the next topic of the show, we got a really interesting film to talk about. I'm really excited to talk about it, and it's a horror film. And I'm a sucker for horror, and I'm a sucker for this type of horror, which is like you're kind of more like I don't know what is it. I don't know what I'm blanking on the word, but anyway, the film's called The Empty Man. And this film came out in 2020, and God, I really wish I would have watched it before I made my top 10 of 2020 list, because to be fucking honest, this probably would have at least been number 3 on my list. Could have been number 2. Wouldn't have been my number 1 film of the year, but would have been really high on my list. Let's just say that. So I'm going to read a short little synopsis for you, just kind of give you a little bit of what what it's about. On the trail of a missing girl, an ex-cop comes across a secretive group attempting to summon a terrifying supernatural entity. And that's all. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to describe anything else about the film because you don't need to know. You don't need to fucking know. Don't even watch the trailer. Don't even watch the trailer. Okay? I mean, I know the title seems kind of stupid. Like the Bye Bye Man or like the Candy Man, it's the Empty Man. Like, it's kind of stupid, but like, don't let the title throw you off because this film is kind of the shit. So going back to how it came out in 2020, and I just kind of want to, the background or the backstory of this film is very interesting. So it's directed by a guy named David Pryor, and from my understanding, it's his first theatrical release, like his full feature film. It's his very first, and he actually wrote he wrote the story and the screenplay. I found something on Wikipedia that it was based off of a graphic novel of a similar name, but I also read like the synopsis of the graphic novel, and it's nothing like the story here. So I don't know how true that is, but you can definitely tell that this film got an immense amount of funding because it shows the effects, the shots, the way it's filmed. It's a very high quality shit. Like, you would have think this was like, I don't know, like James Wan or some big name horror director made it because of just the quality of, the effects and, the shots. It doesn't look low budget is what I'm trying to say. But the thing about it is it only grossed about $4 million worldwide. So like, I don't know. I mean, this is like probably in the tens of millions of a budget. So this film clearly lost money. No one saw it. Basically, no one saw it. Like, the studio kind of buried it. I mean, I guess it kind of makes sense. It's a generic horror. It kind of has this vibe, from the poster and the trailer and the title of the film, to be kind of like a cliched, like, throwaway horror film. And especially coming out in 2020, the pandemic, no one's going to see anything in the theaters. I didn't even see any previews of this film. So, yeah, it just kind of got buried. So made pretty much nothing. And, I kind of understand it. I mean, it is a very weird one. It's a very ambitious film. Let's just say that. It's kind of has that, like, I watched, the reason why I watched this is because a reviewer on, the internet that I watch and I thoroughly respect and I mostly agree with, talked about this film, and like, he described it as a future cult classic. And yeah, I completely agree with that. I probably liked it more than he did. So that's something. But I mean, like I said, very ambitious, very interesting. I mean, it's a 2 hours and 20-minute horror film, which is unheard of. Honestly, like I have no idea how this fucking film got made. Like it's like the studio just kind of gave this random dude money and he's like, just make a horror film, like, and just do whatever the fuck you want. Like just do whatever you want. Here's a check. Here's a blank check. Make a movie. Like that's kind of what they did. And like, God, man, I'm so glad they did that because this guy clearly, David Pryor, had the freedom to do whatever the fuck he wanted, and he takes an immense amount of risks and hits, in my opinion, on almost all of them. Not all of them, but almost all of them. I think this film does get a little bit too ambitious for its own good, but you know, it's still really great. So, like I said, I honestly think we support this film. I mean, I'm going to get into why I love this fucking film so much, but like go out and fucking rent it like I did. You know, if I convince you to watch it, rent it. Don't fucking pirate it off the goddamn internet. Fucking pay money to rent it and watch it because this film clearly fucking needs it. Like, this is not an Avengers film. This isn't a Star Wars film. This isn't fucking Justice League that, you know, has billions of dollars of revenue. No, it only has $4 million. Like, it lost a lot of money. So, and it's like critically kind of bombed too, which I'm going to rant about a little bit with our next topic, how the fuck this film is rated lower on Rotten Tomatoes than the other film I'm going to talk about. But, you know, I'm going to save that for the next topic. But it has a 59% critic score and a 39% audience score. I kind of understand the audience score, but critics, come on, man. This is why you don't fucking trust Rotten Tomatoes, because it fucking lies to you. That's why I don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes, because I think it's just stupid. But anyway, so why the fuck is this film so goddamn good, Mike? Huh? Why is it so good? Well, first, I am a horror fan. I would say, like, if you're not a horror fan, you probably wouldn't appreciate this film as much as I do. But like, this isn't just a quality horror film. It's like one of those really good horror films. You know, horror films that are a little bit more than just your typical slashers. Like, it's not like Friday the 13th or Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Hostel or whatever the next, you know, stabby film is. It's a lot like, it shares a lot of qualities with films like The Babadook and Hereditary, Midsommar, The Shining, The Witch, The Lighthouse, The Exorcist. Amazing classic horror films like that are a lot more and kind of give you something back and give you something to think about after you watch it. You know, with The Babadook being like, you know, almost a metaphor, a manifestation for depression and loss, and how like that stays with you. And if you don't acknowledge it and nurture it every once in a while, it will take you over and harm not only yourself, but the ones you love. You know, Hereditary, how something, you know, not only like, you know, a fucking cult can be passed down through the generations, but like, you know, an idea or, you know, mental illness or whatever type of disease or emotional trauma can be passed down through generations, and how, you know, things are like hereditary. Like, I thought, like, that's very frightening. That really emotionally disturbed me on a really deep level. Midsommar almost being like a fucking coping breakup movie, as described by the director. You know, The Shining being like the living embodiment of what fear is. You know, The Exorcist, the fear of, you know, religion and sin, and just kind of, you know, fucking originate an entire possession genre of horror. You know, so yeah, like films that are a lot more, that give you something to like think about after you watch it. This film is a lot like those. So if you really enjoy those films, you're going to really enjoy this film. You're going to come out with some type of idea that's going to make you think a little bit. So with that, all those films are very ambitious and take a lot of risks. And this one is no different. And when we're talking about not only a 2-hour, 20-minute horror film, we're talking about a 2-hour, 20-minute horror film with a 20 to 30-minute prologue. This film has a fucking prologue that's like, what? A fourth of the movie? Like, it's not, it's like 25 minutes go by before you even get the title card, which is amazing. The prologue's really great. But yeah. So, like, I mean, it's one of those like slow burns, or that cliched term. Oh, it's a slow burn, or it like builds slower, like slowly. Just because a film is a slow burn or a build slowly does not mean it's fucking boring. I mean, maybe if you're a fucking generic, I just want to fucking watch movies to entertain myself. I just want to watch Fast and the Furious and, the Avengers and fucking Die Hard, Live Free or Die Hard, or whatever the fuck you watch just to like mindlessly entertain yourself and just turn your brain off. I mean, I enjoy those movies as much as the next guy. But like, most of the time I want to kind of get something out of my, viewing entertainment experience that kind of make me grow as a person. And this film really did, really gave me that, and I really enjoyed that. So, I mean, usually the films that are slow burns kind of do that because they give you time to breathe. They give ideas time to breathe and kind of manifest in your mind, and you like get to think about it a little bit more, and you get to put things together a lot more. I mean, the last thing you want is a contemplated movie that fucking moves so goddamn fast, like, Tenet. Like, maybe slow down a little bit, Tenet. Maybe you would have been a little bit better. Maybe I would have actually made sense of the fucking film if you didn't move so goddamn fast, Nolan. God damn it, Chris. But anyway, other than that, I mean, other things, just techniques that are used by the filmmakers are just so stellar. Like, the sound design is nightmare fuel, so good at times. Must have headphones or some type of surround sound, really creep you out, really enhance the experience for me having headphones on. The camera work is incredibly good. It almost has like a Fincher feel to it. Like it's that like dark, monochromatic type of feel to it. I really appreciated that. Clearly has some type of directorial influences there, maybe. Also, like, it shows you and teases you, like certain shots kind of tease you or like kind of foreshadow certain things that are going to happen. Like at certain points in the film, like the camera will like shoot something, and it's something like minuscule, like a knife, perhaps, like on the table. It shoots that, and then 15 minutes later, it'll go back to that shot and the knife will be gone. And it's shit like that really builds tension and like foreshadows like, oh shit, like this is what happened to that fucking knife. Where's that fucking knife, dude? You know what I mean? Like it's shit like that really gets your blood flowing, and it's a sign of a really good horror film. The music is a really good quality, really enhanced the film, as musical scores should do. I mean, it's nothing like spectacular, I don't think, like it's nothing that memorable, but I remember it being good enough to enhance the film for me. And also it does something that a lot of those films that I previously mentioned, where it like builds our main character. And our main character is actually played by an actor named James Badgedale, and he's really the only actor of note in this film. There's really no one else that you really recognize other than one other guy who's in it for like a scene. But James Badgedale, I primarily know him from his role in the HBO miniseries The Pacific. He plays Lucky. I think he's the best actor in that show, and I mean, I think it shows because he's really good in this, and I think he's a really fantastic actor. He's just one of those like random character actors that you see, but always gives a really good performance. So hopefully, I get to see him in a little bit more because he's really good here. So yeah, I mean, but like his character is given a decent amount of backstory, but it's not like told to you directly. It's kind of revealed to you slowly as the film progresses, which I really appreciated, even though you kind of understand, what happened before the main thing kind of gets revealed. But I mean, it's still nice to have, it makes you care about him a lot more. Let's just say that. But the film kind of starts out as like a domestic horror type of genre, and then it just kind of takes a weird turn and like develops into a more cosmic horror type of film, which I like. I love both of those horror subgenres, and you know how I've spoken on this podcast how much I love both of those genres, and particularly cosmic horror. So to kind of know, especially like the way it like kind of turns or certain things are revealed to you, and you're like, holy shit, like this just got super weird, but awesome at the same time. So yeah, like I said, the film is not afraid to take massive risks, and this one definitely gets pretty weird. So kind of be prepared for that. But I think the main thing that I really liked is that, you know, the risks that it takes makes it kind of give it that more meaningful touch to it, and it really plays with certain ideas that I really liked. But that also kind of gets into some of the criticisms that I have. It's not a perfect film. I don't think it was really going to be, but like it doesn't really have to be. But I did kind of see certain things. Like it has some normal horror movie tropes to it, like useless police officers. I mean, at the end, this could kind of be explained away, but like you think about it a little too much, and things start to kind of not really make sense. And that's kind of my other major criticism of the film, and how I said like this: the filmmaker David Pryor takes an immense amount of big risks, and he almost hits on all of them, but not quite all of them. There's certain ideas that are kind of shown to you or revealed to you that like I don't know if they really work on all levels. Like if you think about it a little bit too much, it starts to not really make that much sense. But I mean, it's nothing that ruins the film for you. I still think the meaning behind the whole story is still okay, and it still fits the film. It's just certain narrative things that kind of get revealed. You're kind of like, wait, what? I mean, it makes sense. It's not like confusing like Tenet is, but like there's certain things that like if you think about it too hard, you're gonna be like, wait, wait a second. It's kind of one of those things. So with that, overall thoughts on the film, absolutely worth a watch. I mean, unless like you really don't like horror films, maybe don't watch it. But I mean, if you're into horror, like it's an absolute must watch. Like absolute must watch. Like, you know, not only does it have amazing scares, there's like a whole sequence in this film that is absolute fucking nightmare fuel, where like the main character goes to this like obscure like backwoods like campground. I think it's called Nowhere or so. I forget what it's actually called. I watched this like a month ago, but that whole sequence when he goes there, super fucking scary, dude. Super, like the entire sequence. It's like a good 10 to 15 minute sequence. Super, like, holy shit. Like, whoa. Like, really great sequence. Kind of like Hereditary at the very end, where, like, she's fucking crawling up on the fucking wall, or that major, like, where, like, that one little girl gets her fucking, you know what I'm talking about. But, like, yeah, like, certain, like, shit like that are really memorable. There's shit like that in this. But along with that, you know, has really great concepts to kind of make you think about it, how, you know, the empty man, like, you know, like how we as humans kind of develop or manifest like things in our minds to kind of punish ourselves because of our own regret, and how that kind of, you know, evolves, and how like what we do to ourselves because of our, you know, actions, or our you know, regret of something that we said or done or something like that, which I really liked. And the empty man is kind of the manifestation of that. I thought it was really cool and really clever how, like, in the mythology of the empty man, like, if you step towards him, he steps back, but if you step back, he steps towards you. I thought that was super brilliant, especially tying with that whole idea of regret and how, like, if we kind of ignore our actions that we regret, like, it's going to come back and, like, kind of bite you in the ass, and it's going to, like, really kind of take over you. But if you confront it, like, it kind of starts going away a little bit. I thought that was really cool. So yeah, really cool concepts, quality horror film. Does it have the movie magic? Absolutely it does. So absolutely, I don't think it could have the movie magic more. I guess maybe if it hit on all of the ambitious risks, yeah, maybe. Like I said, if you're a horror fan, absolutely must watch. I mean, if you're not, maybe you can pass, but still really good. Like I said, if I watched this before my top 10 of 2020 list, it probably would have been, it's definitely my number 3, could have been my number 2 film of the year. So that's saying a fucking lot. Because there was some decent films that came out last year. So yeah, The Empty Man. It's hard to find. I don't think you can stream it anywhere. I rented it on the PlayStation Store. So just rent the goddamn film. Give it some money. It deserves it. Hello there. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you're unfamiliar with this channel, this is Nerd Out Sanctuary. I'm your host, Michael. What do I talk about, you say? Well, I talk about anything nerdy. So that's movies, video games, TV shows, comic books every once in a while. Books, maybe not. I don't know. Anything that I feel like talking about. I'm a huge nerd. I hope you're a huge nerd, and I hope we can enjoy our nerdiness together here. This is a full audio podcast available on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, the major podcast platforms. So consider going over to those and checking out the full version of the episode. And other past episodes, please leave me a review and subscribe on those platforms. If you don't want to do that, clipped, shorter versions of those full episodes will be posted here on YouTube. So consider subscribing and liking the videos for more to support me and future content that I will be producing in the future on nerdy stuff. So yeah, thank you, and see you on the next one.